I've lived in the teak house for 3.5 years, and I'm here to talk about Al Borgman,
What I know about Al Borgman, he's Scroll 238.
who is a teak who rushed in 1964.
He's a lot higher than mine.
The events surrounding his death and subsequent haunting of the house are mysterious to us. No one's actually done a formal investigation into this until now, but there's enough documented evidence that we believe we can firmly say this house is being haunted, and most likely by Al Borgman.
The reality of ghosts is a problematic subject which divides believers and skeptics. The thought of being haunted by ghosts is an experience that is hard to define and explain. There are many members of the teak house, current and alumni, that believe Al's spirit still remains in the house.
Before I moved here, I didn't really, I guess, believe in ghosts. My house was really creepy that I grew up in, but I never really thought that it was haunted. But the teak house is weird.
According to multiple sources, on a late evening in 1965, Al decided to go canoeing in the Pine River.
As far as we can gather from what we know of the death of Al Borgman, we believe that he actually was paddling a canoe on the Pine River and went over the dam.
As the story goes, he decided to take a canoe over the dam one night, and all of his brothers went with him, and he made it over the first time alive. But I guess the second time he told them to go back and get the videotape, or the video camera, excuse me, and they taped it, and that time he actually was decapitated.
At the time, this was on film. Subsequently, the film may have been destroyed. We're not sure about that. But the one thing we can say is that he was capable of making it over the dam, but there may have been some mysterious event of why he wasn't able to survive the second time.
And ever since then, Al has been haunting the teak house.
None of the brothers report violence or danger when they have had experiences with Al's ghost. They all feel that the presence of Al's ghost is reportedly more friendly in spirit, one that plays more pranks than does any damage.
I know that his spirit has haunted this place, this house, and the past house for a while. He possesses objects in the house, and he always plays tricks on people. Like for me, what he's done is he's turned off all the lights in my room. All the other lights in the house have been on. I mean, it's not bad electricity. It's not that all of my plugs are screwed up. It's that the lights just turn off. And then wait a second, I have to jump around for a second, and then they'll turn back on.
Various sightings have been reported throughout the years. We believe that Al is most active at nighttime, although he has been known to show up during the daytime and mess with electronic equipment.
He also, I have an iHome for my iPod, and that will turn on. I haven't used it all year, except it'll turn on. Turn on at 2:30 in the morning, it'll somehow turn off. Radio just starts blaring, and I don't touch it. Nobody else I know touch it.
I was staying in the house over fall break by myself for a day, and at approximately 9:30 at night, when no one else was in the house, and I was down in the front room, I could hear doors subsequently opening and closing in the upstairs region of the house. And when I went up there, all the doors were shut. And I checked through the rooms one time and closed the doors again, and later on that evening, 2 of the doors were still open. So as far as who it was, or if it could have been drafts, I don't know, but it was, at the time, scary enough for me to go out and sit on the porch until I felt tired enough to fall asleep.
I was in the house alone, and it was just before, I think it was winter break, and I was going downstairs to change my laundry out, and I heard the TV on across the hall. So I walk in there, and the TV wasn't even on. It was really weird. But the radio was on, like there was static coming through the speakers, and so I walked behind the bar that was down there to turn it off. And when I get back there, I realized that the stereo system isn't even on. And that's when the speakers started getting louder. And so I started walking a little bit faster towards the door, and the speakers got a little bit louder. And then I started booking it up the stairs, and as soon as my foot hit the top step, everything shut off. And I pooped my pants.
You could hear, like from my room, I can hear the whole house through the vents. And I'll be sitting playing Mario, and then I'll lean down to like tie my shoe or something before I leave, and I'll hear footsteps through the vent. I'll hear people not voices, but I'll hear stuff. That's not like a radiator kicking on. It's not like people are yelling or laughing. There's something.
Al's ghost is not your everyday typical ghosts from ghost stories. Both alumni and current brothers feel that Al's ghost is not one of danger. He's one of compassion, one who's compelled them to believe in ghosts and believe in spirits.
So for all we know, he still had unfinished business, and so now he uses unfinished business time to mess with the teaks at the house.
It's nothing bad, nothing's hurtful. I've never been scared or never been hurt because of Al. He hasn't murdered anybody here, but I actually think it's kind of funny what he's doing.
A popular story about a haunting of Al in this house involves an electronic dartboard which used to be in this room. And at the time, it hadn't been used for about 2 or 3 months and had been unplugged, presumably. However, some of the brothers that were in the room cleaning at the time noticed that the lights suddenly turned on, flashed, and then turned themselves off. When they walked over to investigate the machine, they realized that it had been unplugged still. And the machine never worked again after that, even after replugging it. Whether or not it was Al, we don't know, but the signs point to yes.
The foosball table used to be in the back room, and about 4 of our alumni were playing, and I guess one of them had a dog with them, and the front door swung wide open, and then the second front door swung wide open. After the first 2 swung open, within a second, the third one finally flew open. They all look over, and the dog runs straight for the set of open doors, this giant hallway leading to the outside already. And the dog runs right into the hallway, and it starts jumping up and down like there's someone there, and then it rolls onto its back, and it looks pretty much just like it was getting pet on the belly by Al.
I've heard stories from other people about Al and what he's done to the house. And one of them would be like Pat Tyson used to say that he came into the house 3 weeks early, and he was in the basement, only one here. He moved in 3 weeks early and heard footsteps up and down the stairs all night long. Hearing footsteps up and down the stairs, and you're the only one here. And he was the only one here because school hasn't even started yet. I've also heard of Al like locking doors on people. I've also heard of Al dropping things, losing things, but nothing like malicious, nothing bad. Always, I mean, everything that I feel that I've lost because of Al has been returned to me. Not now, maybe like 5 months later, like cell phones and power cords to laptops and whatnot. But
On a late evening in 1985, the old teak house burned down on campus. It was on this day that many of the brothers who were trapped in the house reported seeing the same person in the same white t-shirt aiding them out to safety. Since this date, there have been multiple sightings and multiple experiences with Al's ghost in that same white t-shirt.
As the house started, going up in smoke, basically, there was another brother there dressed in a white t-shirt who was going around the rooms and ushering the other brothers out to basically away from the fire. And finally, as the smoke, all the fire trucks were there, they're putting the fire out, and they gather around, and they were, comparing stories about what they were doing when the fire started. And they all had the same story about this guy wearing a white t-shirt who came to their room and helped them. And they looked around, and there was absolutely no one in a white t-shirt. And from that point on, whenever there was an Al sighting, he was wearing a white t-shirt. So theory goes that Al was the one who saved the Teaks' lives as the house burned down.